in 1991, it became an instant classic, defining an era with its gripping story, powerful performances, and unforgettable soundtrack. Now, 34 years later, fans still remember Nino Brown and the gritty streets of New York that made this film a cultural phenomenon. But what happened to the stars who brought this crime drama to life? Some reached new heights in Hollywood, while others faced personal struggles or faded from the public eye. As we step into 2025, let's take a look at where the cast is now and how their lives have changed over the decades. Bill Nunn played the Man in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 38, portraying a menacing yet fiercely loyal enforcer within Nino Brown's crime syndicate. His towering presence and deep voice made him an unforgettable part of the film's ruthless underworld. Nunn built a career as a character actor, gaining fame in Do the Right Thing and later as Robbie Robertson in Spider-Man, yet he often felt Hollywood overlooked his talent. Despite a long marriage to Donna Nunn, his career kept him away from home, straining their relationship. He was a devoted father to his daughters, Jessica and Sydney, but guilt weighed heavily on him for missing key moments in their lives. As he aged, health struggles emerged, and a leukemia diagnosis in his late 50s forced him to step away from acting. His final years were spent battling the disease, withdrawing from public life as his strength faded. He passed away on September 24, 2016, at the age of 62. Thalmus Rasulala played Police Commissioner Fred Price in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 50, portraying a no-nonsense lawman determined to restore order in a city plagued by drugs and violence. A gifted but underappreciated actor, Rasulala had roles and roots in Blackula, yet struggled against Hollywood's racial limitations. Despite his talent, he often found himself relegated to supporting roles while lesser actors rose to stardom. He married Shirley Castle and had 3 children, but the pressures of a turbulent career and financial struggles strained his family life. Though he remained dedicated to acting, opportunities dwindled in his later years, leaving him frustrated and uncertain about his future. Tragically, just months after New Jack City was released, he suffered a fatal heart attack, cutting short both his life and the potential for a late career resurgence. He passed away on October 9, 1991, at the age of 51. Bill Cobbs played the Old Man in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 57, portraying a weary yet resilient elder who symbolized the community's fight against the devastation of drugs. With a career spanning over 100 films, including The Bodyguard and Night at the Museum, Cobbs was a familiar face but never a household name. Despite his success, he lived much of his life alone, never marrying, and dedicating himself entirely to his craft. While respected in the industry, he often struggled financially, never earning the wealth of the stars he acted alongside. As he aged, he became increasingly reclusive, watching as many of his longtime friends passed away. Health complications crept in, making his final years difficult, and he faded from the public eye. He passed away on June 25, 2024, at the age of 90, alone and largely forgotten by an industry that had long since moved on, despite his immense contributions to film and television. Nick Ashford played Reverend Oates in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 49, portraying a passionate and righteous leader fighting to save his community. Best known as half of the legendary songwriting duo Ashford and Simpson, he wrote timeless hits for artists like Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye. Though his marriage to Valerie Simpson was seen as one of the most enduring love stories in the music industry, the pressures of fame, touring, and financial setbacks caused tension over the years. He was a dedicated father to his daughters, Nicole and Asia, but his demanding career often kept him away. In the late 2000s, he was diagnosed with throat cancer, a devastating illness for a man whose voice had defined his legacy. As his condition worsened, he withdrew from the public, grappling with the cruel irony that the very thing that made him famous, his voice, was slipping away. He passed away on August 22, 2011, at the age of 69. John Aprea played Don Armedio in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 50, embodying a ruthless mob boss vying for control of the drug trade against Nino Brown. Often typecast as a gangster, he built a steady career with roles in The Godfather Part 2 and The Sopranos, yet true leading man success remained elusive. His personal life was filled with turbulence. His first marriage to Nino Aprea ended in divorce, as did his second, leaving him estranged from much of his family. His daughter, Nicole, was one of the few constants in his life, but even their relationship suffered under the weight of his career disappointments. In later years, as roles became scarce, he faced financial struggles and retreated from public life, watching his industry move on without him. He passed away on August 5, 2024, at the age of 83, spending his final years in quiet regret, reflecting on a career that never quite reached the heights he had once dreamed of. Jake LaMotta played the gangster standing at the bar in New Jack City, 1991, at 69, a small but fitting role for the former boxing champion whose real-life ties to the underworld gave the film an air of authenticity. Though his character had no major lines, his mere presence reflected the gritty, dangerous world of organized crime. LaMotta was best known for inspiring Raging Bull, 1980, a film that exposed his violent temper, self-destructive tendencies, and abusive relationships. His boxing career, once his pride, was tainted by allegations of fixing fights for the mob, and his personal life was a series of failed marriages, 6 in total, filled with infidelity and physical abuse. His later years were marked by financial instability, forcing him to take on odd roles in movies and comedy gigs to survive. Once a feared fighter, he became a tragic relic of his past, battling dementia in his final days. He died on September 19, 2017, at 95 from complications of pneumonia. Ice-T played Detective Scotty Appleton in New Jack City, 1991, at 33, portraying a relentless undercover cop determined to take down Nino Brown, driven by personal revenge for his murdered mother. Scotty is calculating, morally ambiguous, and willing to push the limits of the law for justice. Ice-T, already a controversial rap icon with Cop Killer, transitioned smoothly into acting, later finding stability on Law and Order, SVU, which became his financial lifeline. His first marriage to Darlene Ortiz ended in a bitter split, and though his marriage to Coco Austin gave him a glamorous public image, rumors of infidelity and personal struggles tainted their relationship. Despite success, he faced industry blacklisting for his outspoken nature, forcing him to rely on television rather than film. Now 67, he remains on SVU but knows the spotlight won't last forever, struggling with the contradictions of being both a rap pioneer and a TV cop. Wesley Snipes played Nino Brown in New Jack City, 1991, at 29, portraying the ruthless and cunning drug kingpin whose meteoric rise and inevitable downfall mirror the destructive crack epidemic of the late 80s. Nino is charming yet brutal, willing to betray anyone to secure his power, making him one of cinema's most iconic villains. Snipes became a Hollywood powerhouse with Blade, White Men Can't Jump, and Demolition Man, but financial mismanagement led to a 3-year prison sentence for tax evasion in 2010. His first marriage to April Dubois ended in divorce, leaving a strained relationship with their son. Though he later married Nakyung Park and had 4 more children, his legal troubles and financial instability placed immense pressure on his family life. Once one of the highest-paid black actors, he was reduced to working in low-budget action films, struggling to reclaim his former glory. Now 62, he lives a quieter life, occasionally taking roles but forever haunted by the opportunities he lost. Alan Payne played G. Money Wells in New Jack City, 1991, at just 23, perfectly capturing the tragic arc of a man who craves power but ultimately falls victim to betrayal. G. Money is Nino Brown's loyal lieutenant, but his ambition and unchecked ego lead him to a tragic end at the hands of his best friend. Payne showed early promise, later starring in The Cosby Show and Jason's Lyric, yet his career never reached the heights expected. A deeply private man, he never married and had no children, dedicating himself to his craft but struggling with loneliness. His mother's passing in 2012 devastated him, pushing him into a reclusive lifestyle, avoiding Hollywood and withdrawing from the public eye. Rumors swirled about depression and financial ruin, with reports that he had turned down roles due to personal struggles. Now 56, he lives in quiet obscurity, his career all but forgotten by the mainstream, a once rising star who faded too soon. Vanessa Williams played Keisha in New Jack City in 1991 at age 28, a ruthless enforcer for Nino Brown's empire, fiercely loyal and unflinching in her brutality. Her character met a violent end, much like the promising trajectory of Williams' career. After an initial wave of success, she found herself typecast, struggling to secure substantial roles beyond crime dramas. Financial troubles loomed as she turned to lower-budget films and television guest spots to stay afloat. In 1996, she married musician Andre Richardson, but their marriage was tumultuous, plagued by rumors of infidelity and financial strain. They divorced in 2003, and their only daughter, Simone, grew distant, choosing to live with her father. Williams battled severe depression and alcohol addiction, checking into rehab multiple times. Hollywood offers dried up, and by the late 2010s, she was making ends meet through sporadic convention appearances and bit parts. Now, in 2025, at 61, she lives in a small apartment in Los Angeles, her once glamorous life reduced to faded memories. Chris Rock played Pookie Robinson in New Jack City, 1991, at 26. Delivering a heartbreaking performance as a former addict-turned-informant who ultimately succumbs to his demons. Pookie is the film's tragic soul, his desperate attempts at redemption crushed by addiction's unrelenting grip. Rock, already a stand-up sensation, used the film to showcase his dramatic range, later achieving immense fame in comedy. However, despite his success, his personal life was riddled with pain. His marriage to Malik Compton Rock ended after 20 years, shattered by infidelity and regret. The divorce was bitter, costing him millions and straining his relationship with his daughters, Lola and Zara. Though he masked his pain with humor, he privately battled depression and self-doubt, questioning his place in an industry that often typecast him. Now 60, he continues to work, but his public persona hides a deep loneliness, the laughter never quite drowning out the sorrow of his private struggles. Judd Nelson played Detective Nick Peretti in New Jack City in 1990 at the age of 31, embodying a tough and street-smart cop determined to take down the Cash Money brothers. Despite a once promising career in the Brat Pack era, Nelson struggled to find lasting success. Typecast as the rebellious outsider, he failed to secure diverse roles and fell into a pattern of low-budget films and television cameos. His personal life was equally turbulent, his engagement to actress Cheryl Lynn ended in scandal, and his struggles with alcohol destroyed relationships with friends and family. Diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder, he endured repeated breakdowns, leading to several involuntary psychiatric hospitalizations. By the late 2010s, he was living in near seclusion, relying on occasional guest roles to make ends meet. Now, in 2025, at 65, he resides in a modest home, estranged from Hollywood, his legacy overshadowed by personal demons and missed opportunities. Mario Van Peebles played Stone in New Jack City in 1991 at the age of 34, portraying a relentless and disciplined police officer determined to dismantle Nino Brown's empire. His character symbolized integrity in the face of corruption, yet his real life was a tragic contrast. Born into Hollywood royalty, he constantly battled the pressure of living up to his father's name. Though he directed several films, including Posse and Badasis, his career suffered from critical and financial failures, leaving him in debt. His marriage to actress Lisa Vitello ended in a painful divorce after her public accusations of infidelity and neglect. His 2 children, Jordan and Maya, distanced themselves from him, leaving him isolated. Depression and alcohol addiction followed, leading to multiple stints in rehab. Struggling to find work, he eventually sold his home and retreated from the public eye. Now, in 2025, at 68, he lives in obscurity, battling chronic illness in a modest apartment, haunted by what could have been. Russell Wong played Park in New Jack City in 1990 at 27, a fierce and highly skilled enforcer devoted to Nino Brown's empire. Unlike his character's unwavering loyalty, Wong's Hollywood journey was filled with rejection. Initially seen as a groundbreaking Asian-American actor, he struggled to secure leading roles, repeatedly cast in supporting parts or typecast in martial arts films. Disillusioned, he turned to independent cinema, but financial instability followed. His marriage to ballet dancer Celeste Kim crumbled under the strain of his faltering career, and their daughter, Lillian, grew distant, leaving him alone. By the 2010s, he had abandoned acting altogether, finding work as a martial arts instructor and part-time fitness trainer. Now, in 2025, at 62, he leads a quiet, reclusive life, scraping by in a rented apartment. His dreams of stardom long faded, his name barely remembered by Hollywood. Michele played Selena in New Jack City in 1990 at the age of 24, portraying a sophisticated woman who used her intelligence and charm to maneuver through Nino Brown's dangerous world. Off-screen, she faced constant struggles in Hollywood, where she was often overlooked for major roles despite her talent. Though she landed recurring roles on television, true stardom remained elusive, and she frequently found herself typecast. Her personal life was marked by heartbreak. She was in a long-term relationship with businessman Robert Langley, but their romance ended after years of emotional turmoil and unfulfilled dreams of starting a family. Over time, she withdrew from Hollywood, focusing on personal ventures and occasional guest appearances. Now, in 2025, at the age of 58, she leads a quiet life away from the spotlight, occasionally making public appearances but largely staying out of the industry that once failed to fully embrace her. Anthony DeSando played Frankie Needles in New Jack City in 1991 at age 26, a smooth-talking middleman entangled in the drug trade's dirty dealings. His role reflected his real-life struggle to carve out a lasting presence in Hollywood. Though he found steady work in television, he never secured a major breakthrough, bouncing between guest spots and minor supporting roles. In 2001, he married actress Rachel Moretti, but their marriage was marked by turmoil. Financial stress, compounded by DeSando's drinking and gambling habits, led to their bitter divorce in 2010. Their only son, Vincent, grew estranged from him, unwilling to be part of his downward spiral. By the mid-2010s, multiple DUI arrests and reckless behavior effectively ended his career. Blacklisted and struggling, he attempted to stage a comeback, but Hollywood had moved on. Now, in 2025, at 59, he lives a quiet life in New York, barely scraping by on residuals, haunted by what could have been. Fab Five Freddy played the Master of Ceremonies in New Jack City in 1991 at age 32, a charismatic figure bridging the worlds of music and crime. A pioneering influence in hip-hop culture, his real-life career initially thrived, but as the industry evolved, he struggled to maintain relevance. By the early 2000s, younger artists had taken center stage, leaving him financially strained and forced to sell memorabilia to stay afloat. His longtime partner, Lisa Crawford, left him in 2007, weary of years of instability and emotional detachment. With no children and few close friends, he became increasingly isolated. Health issues, including diabetes and hypertension, further complicated his life, making public appearances rare. Now, in 2025, at 65, he resides in a modest Brooklyn apartment, surrounded by relics of a past era, occasionally appearing at hip-hop retrospectives while quietly battling the weight of his faded legacy. Keith Sweat portrayed the wedding singer in New Jack City in 1990 at age 29, delivering a heartfelt performance that reflected his real-life success as an R&B sensation. His smooth voice and emotional ballads made him a major star in the late 1980s and early 1990s, but fame proved to be fleeting. His marriage to reality star Lisa Wu ended in a bitter divorce, and their 2 sons became the center of a long custody battle. Financial troubles soon followed, with reports of unpaid debts, foreclosure, and dwindling album sales forcing him to downsize his lifestyle. Though he continued to tour, the glory days of platinum records and sold-out arenas were long gone. As his fame faded, he battled depression and struggled to stay relevant in an ever-changing music industry. Now, in 2025, at 63 years old, he still performs occasionally, but the stage feels emptier, the spotlight dimmer, leaving him to reflect on a career that once seemed unstoppable but slowly slipped away. Flavor Flav played the DJ in New Jack City in 1990 at age 31, bringing his signature high-energy presence to the gritty world of the film. His character added a chaotic but lively element, mirroring the fast-paced and dangerous nightlife of the streets. Already famous as a member of Public Enemy, Flav was at the peak of his career, but behind the success, his life was unraveling. Years of drug addiction, arrests, and financial mismanagement left him in a constant state of instability. He fathered 8 children with multiple women, yet his relationships were marred by infidelity and neglect, leading to legal battles over child support. His money disappeared as quickly as it came, forcing him into reality television and desperate attempts to revive his fame. Despite brief comebacks, the music industry had moved on, leaving him behind. Now, in 2025, at 66 years old, he lives a quiet and reclusive life, his body weakened by decades of substance abuse, his past filled with regret over the talent and opportunities he squandered. Marcella Lowery played the woman in the hallway in New Jack City in 1990 at age 45, a small but striking role that captured the despair of life in crime-ridden urban neighborhoods. Though she had a long career in television and film, true stardom never came. Hollywood typecast her into minor supporting roles, and despite her talent, she remained on the industry's sidelines. Her personal life fared no better, her marriage ended in divorce, and the emotional distance between her and her only daughter grew over time. As roles became scarcer, financial struggles mounted, forcing her to take jobs far from the entertainment industry just to survive. Depression set in as she watched younger actors find the success that always seemed just out of her reach. Now, in 2025, at 79 years old, she lives in quiet solitude, her contributions to film largely forgotten, her dreams of lasting recognition never fulfilled. Kelly Jo Minter played the recovering addict in New Jack City in 1990 at age 24, portraying the harrowing reality of addiction with gut-wrenching realism. She had made a name for herself in horror films like A Nightmare on Elm Street 5 and The People Under the Stairs, but despite early success, Hollywood lost interest. The industry's lack of roles for black actresses left her career stagnant, and financial pressures mounted as she struggled to find meaningful work. Her marriage, once a source of hope, ended in heartbreak, leaving her to raise 2 sons alone while facing the harsh realities of an unforgiving business. Depression and disillusionment set in as the career she once dreamed of faded into obscurity. Now, in 2025, at 58 years old, she lives far from the glitz of Hollywood, her life marked by struggle and the painful realization that fame is fleeting, leaving only memories of what once was. Teddy Riley played a musician in the New Year's Eve band, Guy, in New Jack City, 1991, at 25, contributing to one of the film's most vibrant scenes. As a musical genius, he helped define the New Jack Swing era, but behind the success was a life marred by betrayal and loss. Despite revolutionizing R&B, his career was plagued by financial mismanagement, lawsuits, and broken partnerships that drained his fortune. His personal life was no escape. He married once, to a woman who left him when his financial troubles deepened. The divorce was bitter, and his 3 children, Taj, Taja, and Deja, became distant as they grew up resenting his absence. He was scammed out of millions, forcing him to declare bankruptcy, a humiliation that shattered his confidence. As years passed, he fought to stay relevant in an industry that had little room for aging artists. Now, in 2025, at 58, he clings to the remnants of his career, still performing in small venues, but the crowds are thinner, the applause quieter. Tina Lifford played a recovering addict in New Jack City, 1991, at 25, embodying the struggles of addiction with haunting realism. Her character, though minor, provided an essential glimpse into the film's dark themes of substance abuse and redemption. Despite a strong performance, Tina's career never soared the way she had hoped. She found work in television, but for every role she landed, there were countless rejections, and the industry often overlooked her talent. She married once, to a man who promised stability but delivered only heartbreak. The marriage crumbled under the weight of financial troubles and emotional neglect, leaving Tina alone with a daughter, Ayana, whom she struggled to support. The loneliness and stress took a toll, and for years, she battled depression in silence. The cruel irony of playing a recovering addict while facing her own struggles with alcohol made her reality even more painful. Though still alive in 2025 at the age of 58, she lives in relative obscurity, her dreams of lasting fame long shattered. Who is your favorite character from New Jack City? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.